I had a work experience at a Japanese bank called Nomura, seeing all the people, they're all stressed, all swearing, they're all unhealthy. And I'm like, oh, I can't get myself to doing this. And then fast forward to the present day, I hit my record month last month. USD.
Somebody who's getting started and they don't really have those client wins to go back and look at, what would you say to help them manage that emotional side of things?
Think about the version 2.0 of yourself where you would be earning 10k a month. How would he be feeling? Conviction, charismatic, energized. What would he think? I'm a sales king. Close anything. Thoughts, actions, and feelings.
If there was a secret to growing an online coaching business, to even just being full time, what would you say that secret is?
You've got to get outside help, bro. When my income really compounded was when I invested in my first mentorship. Just like when you think about when a client wants to come to you for their transformation, they need that outside perspective, seeing the leaks in the bottles or the buckets that you're not seeing.
What was the main thing that you realized when you invested?
The sales perspective and creating my offer, how to ask the right questions in sales and how to pitch your offer. Just being genuinely curious. You can't always expect yourself to get. You gotta give.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me here, Tom.
First question I want to ask you, and this is the question that I ask everybody that comes on here now. What makes a good coach a good coach?
What makes a good coach has to be consistency with everything that you do in terms of the content you put out, the relationships you have with your team, your clients, all down to consistency. Just like how you would apply that when you're in the gym,
right?
Building your muscle, building your flexibility, it all comes down to consistency. So how much you want it. If you want enough, you have to be consistent.
So you would say a bad coach is an inconsistent coach?
Yes.
Inconsistent in what sense? Do you mean like in terms of delivering to the clients or in terms of their own marketing?
Every aspect, bro. When it comes to coaching, we're not just helping the clients. We've got to work on the marketing. We've got to work on the sales side. We've got to work on the spiritual side in terms of controlling your internal energy. So it's every single aspect. But the main thing when it comes, from my personal experience, has to be content, right? The more you put out, the more eyeballs you're going to get.
Cool.
So I have a 2 reels a day rule, post 2 reels across all different types of platform. And I've been doing that for the last 2 to 3 years.
Right.
That's what drives everything. More content, more eyeballs, more sales objection, more money. And you just got to be consistent in all these areas.
And it just compounds, right? Because you've got a big following. So you've got like 152,000 followers on one of your Instagrams. And then you've got, I think I looked at your YouTube, you've got like 26,000 followers on there. And then you've got the other Instagram account. I imagine you probably got a TikTok as well.
Yeah.
But just for people watching, can you sort of give us a rundown of your coaching journey in terms of business and just like the level that you've got up to? Because it is impressive where you're at right now with the business.
Appreciate it, bro. So it all started off as just in university. That's when I created my fitness Instagram account to document my journey, right? Posting my progressions as I go along, first year of uni. So I was just posting whenever I'm doing a workout tutorials, just to inspire others. Didn't really think about getting into coaching myself, but it's just a personal reflection. And then around about 2020, someone messaged me. He's like, Pat, Steve, my very first client, whom I charge, big up Steve, whom I charge £25 a month to coach.
Nice. What a steal.
Yeah,
from Steve.
what a steal.
Nice work.
So it was just, posting consistently. And then someone sees what you do, appreciates what you do, appreciates what you put out there. And then boom, we made an exchange. Okay, cool. You pay me for my time. I will provide you with a coaching delivery. And that's where it stemmed from everything. And then just building small client base from there, from 2018 all the way to 2021. So I was just doing that kind of part-time through uni. Didn't really earn much, but it's just more out of passion.
Of course.
More out of passion. I was studying economics at the time, back at University of East Anglia. The initial goal was to become a stockbroker, but
really
didn't really align with me, bro.
In what sense?
I had a work experience at a Japanese bank called Nomura. Seeing all the people in the office, they're all stressed, all swearing, they're all unhealthy, they look sleepless.
Is it like Wolf of Wall Street?
Wolf of Wall Street,
Seriously?
exactly like that. Yeah, so I'm like,
really like boiler room sales.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Like I'm like, I can't get myself to do this. Yeah. So then luckily, thanks to Steve, that was when everything changed.
Right.
And again, it comes down to content.
Cool.
Comes down to consistency. I was posting 2 to 3 times a week. So that was that. Started building up my coaching journey, building my clients, got to like 5. Steve would refer me to his friends, posting on social media, and it just all compounds from there. Selling through the DMs, didn't really have to do like no sales call, nothing.
That's good.
And then fast forward to the present day, I hit my record month last month in May. Got a team of 4 people, 1 assistant head coach who is my best friend, who got me into calisthenics 8 years ago. So is that
who was on your YouTube channel I was watching earlier?
Yes.
Tim.
Tim.
I shouldn't say Kim. You're allowed to say it.
Yeah, no, it's all good, bro. It's all good. Yeah, he's from Nepal. So he's the one who got me into calisthenics 8 years ago. And to be in a position to be able to help him on board, because he was struggling to find a job in computer science.
Yeah.
Like, T, you taught me everything. You know a lot more than me. Come, we'll grow this brand together.
That's insane.
And then got my 2 VAs as well, working on both the inbound and the outbound strategies, booking in calls. So that's the team that I'm working with. It continues to grow and feels like a family being able to look after these guys.
You've got that vibe in your business, which is quite wholesome of you building a team. But I want to go back to your experience, because one thing that you said about the Japanese bank that you did work experience at, was work experience or a work placement or whatever you said. What would you say the main difference? Because a lot of people getting into online coaching, they actually imagine sales calls and DMs to be quite like boiler room sales and quite like Wolf of Wall Street. How would you say that online coaching sales differs from boiler room sales that you experienced in the Japanese bank?
It's very different because that type of sales in the Japanese bank is quite quick, right? You're calling, hey, I've got this amazing deal. You should be jumping on.
Right.
But with the sales call, with online coaching, you're building a relationship with the prospect. You get to understand them.
Yeah.
How's the family? How you feeling? What you going through in your life? And this first kind of 15 minutes of discovery phase, that's where you get to hear them out heart to heart. And then this will then generate into like a great relationship between you and your clients.
For sure.
Now I've got about close to 60 clients. You know, we're pretty sweet with everyone. We check in with everyone.
Wow.
The relationship part is what's feels more like a conversational rather than transactional. That's the thing. And just treat like I'm here with you having this podcast, chatting.
Yeah.
Don't think about the sale. Just think about how you can help this people.
Yeah.
This person.
Because so many people, they don't like to do sales, or I'm not doing sales calls, or I'm not doing DMs, because they label it as that. And I think they see it in this like boiler room type sales, Wolf of Wall Street, unethical. But really, fundamentally, it is building a relationship. And I think if you can switch the frame to when you're having a conversation to building that relationship instead, then it gets a lot easier.
Exactly. It's how your relationship is to this part of the business. If you view it as something that's boiler room, something that's long, then it's going to be just that. Whereas if you were to just switch your mindset to, I'm just going to have a genuine conversation, see if I can help this guy. If not, that's fine. Hopefully I'll be able to point him in a different direction.
Fuck. That is literally the mindset that you need to get to like 20K per month.
Yeah.
That is all it is.
I mean, starting off, it wasn't like that,
No.
as we both know, and having mentorship to be able to kind of guide you through that spiritual side helps a lot. So yeah, that's been a big changer as well.
What was like the biggest thing that you struggled with when you started out?
Oh, the offer, I think. I didn't really know how much to charge, right? I remember when I first initially charged, when Steve came to me, I was like, how much would you charge for a 3-month program? I said, £75. And he's like, are you sure, mate? I was like, yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'll pay that.
Yeah. And then it was £100 a month, 200. Now I charge around 2,000 US for 4 months.
Good.
So it's just building the offer, knowing your target market.
Cool.
And again, sometimes you don't know it yourself. You need that extra outside help to be able to kind of show you, cool, Pat, this is what you should be focusing on. This is what you're good at. Now down on that.
Yeah, I think mentorship and guidance and coaching is really, really important.
I think that's when everything changed for me, Tom.
Yeah.
Honestly, trying to be a one-man army, winging on your own, looking at different stuff on social media, you can only take like a fragment of it. Whereas if you were to get that one-on-one mentorship support, they're like, oh, they're kind of holding your hands. They're supporting you.
Absolutely.
Going through the emotional turmoils of sales slumps, it helps a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, sales slumps. That's a big one, because it doesn't matter what level you're at, you're going to experience highs and lows, and those lows, they can either make your business or they can just break you as an individual. What would you say to somebody right now who's watching this and they're kind of in a sales slump, or they're just struggling to get it off the ground and they're feeling like emotionally drained and disheartened by the whole experience?
Yeah. So I like to go through my chats with my clients, look at the wins. So for me, it would be like a client getting a muscle up, or looking at when the client first started the journey, they were 100 kilos, 2 months later, 90 kilos. So seeing their progress, and then get them to record testimonials as well after each transformation. Go back and rewatch.
Wow.
And just kind of reliving like the good feeling. Because I was in a sales slump the third weekend of May.
Okay.
In the first 2 weeks of May, closing, boom, 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 boom. March, last month, March, sorry.
Yeah.
First 2 weeks of March, I was closing in the first 2 weeks, boom, boom, boom. Third week, it was a slump. And I was like, what's going on? Mentally wasn't there. So I just kind of gone back to reliving those wins, reliving those sales calls.
I like
going
that.
back through the sales recording of the ones that you close as
Of
well.
course.
When you say the price, 2,000 US, they'll be like, okay, how does that make you feel? Replay that in your mind, feel it in your body, and then brings you back to the winning mindset.
That is a fucking awesome tip, actually. I don't do that enough. I think going back and seeing your wins, it's just going to increase the conviction. But I think a lot of people watching this right now, they might not actually have any wins whatsoever. So somebody who's getting started and they don't really have those client wins to go back and look at, because, you know, you serve your clients really well, you get loads of results. But somebody who doesn't have them, what would you say to help them manage that emotional side of things?
You could go into forward thinking, right? Think about the version 2.0 of yourself where you would be earning 10K a month. How would he be feeling? I like to go by these 3 lists: your thoughts, your actions, your feelings. What would this 10K version 2.0 of you would feel? I'd feel great.
Yeah.
I'd feel conviction. I'd feel charismatic. Feel energized. What would he think? I'm a sales king. I close anything. No one's going to objection handle me.
Yeah.
I close sales like a piece of cake. And thoughts, actions, and feelings. And obviously the actions, the final one is, I close these guys. And it just all comes down to, as well, having that general conversation. Generic conversation. Don't be too attached to it.
Yeah. That detachment is fucking massive.
It's a hard one to get over,
It
bro.
is.
But when you don't worry about the money, that's when it comes.
It's so weird, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like so many people, maybe it's just because I'm seeing it and experiencing it with, like, you know, yourself and my other friends. Everybody's like slowly picking up, okay, I've got to detach, and they're starting to make more money from doing it. But if there was a secret to growing an online coaching business, to, like, you know, even just being full time, if there was a secret, what would you say that like secret is?
Secret. You've got to get outside help, bro. Honestly.
Yeah.
Outside help. Even though I'm not in my mentorship under you, Tom, when my income really compounded was when I invested in my first mentorship.
Yeah. Who was that, by the way? You can share them.
Corbin Silk.
Corbin, yeah.
Yeah. So this was the guy who, reached out to me. I didn't really trust him. I thought, fuck it. He made a point of, you've been stuck in this position. 3 months ago, he DM'd me when I first, like, let's say in 2018, right? Pat, you've got this X amount of followers, 2,000. You're earning about $1,000 a month. Fast forward, you're still in the same amount of followers. You're still earning the same.
Right, so you didn't actually sign up with him initially?
I didn't sign up with him initially.
You had a call with him, but you didn't, okay,
I didn't trust him at first, you know, and then he made a realization, cool. 3 months later, it's the New Year's, you're still in the same position, earning the same amount of money. So definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Just like when you think about when a client wants to come to you for their transformation, they need the outside perspective, seeing the leaks in the bottles or the buckets that you're not seeing, you know, that they're not seeing, sorry. So having that mentorship has changed everything. Bro.
Corbin, you can use that.
Yeah, big up Corbin, bro.
Nice. That's awesome though. So, okay, so getting help is the secret. But what would you say the main thing that you got help with? Like, what did you need education around? What was it that you needed to learn about? Because I feel like when I first started buying mentorships, I thought that I would buy something and all of these secrets would be revealed and there'd be like these new tactics and these new strategies that I'd need to implement. But I would spend $5,000, $10,000 on mentorships only to realize that, oh, I need to post content, I need to send outreach messages, I need to take calls and close people, and then eventually I can run ads. What was the main thing that you realized when you invested?
The main thing for me was the sales perspective and creating my offer, right? He showed me a different frameworks in terms of how to ask the right questions in sales and how to pitch your offer. I go by 3 pillars. So intelligent training, smart nutrition, peak performance. And based on the discovery phase of what their pain points are, then I'll be like, oh, Steve, you're struggling with this. This is what this is going to do for you.
Fantastic.
You're struggling with this. This is what's going to do for you. Does that make sense? Do you feel like this would help you? Just being genuinely curious. So the main two things I would say, creating an offer that is high ticket, and number two, sales.
Yeah.
Those are the two biggest takeaways that I've got from the mentorship.
Amazing. And then building offers, that's like the first step. That's the first thing that you have to concentrate on when you're starting an online coaching business. So for somebody who's trying to start their offer, how do you do that?
I would base it on like kind of the industry average, perhaps. So if you're starting off perhaps with no experience, you could be charging $200 a month.
Okay.
Just to build some clients on there.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. $200, get some clients, or even before even getting onto that, get your friends, 3 of them, or even someone who follows you, who engages with your account. Just be like, hey bro, I'm going to coach you for 3 months. In exchange, I'm going to give you my all to help you. And then you give me a testimonial.
Good.
You send me some videos. I'll use this to promote the coaching on my Instagram. So I've done that many times. I remember when I was struggling to get girls on the coaching program because it's all men based. I was like, Monica, even though you can't afford the program right now, I'm going to give you a coaching program for 3 months.
Fantastic.
Taught her the handstand, taught her the muscle up.
Yeah.
And then use this content, post it on my social media. So sometimes you can't always expect yourself to get. You got to give.
Absolutely.
Give and you shall receive.
100%. But with like, because a lot of people, they don't actually understand what they're selling. They don't know what they're selling. So when you started out and you started building your offer, what actually is the offer that you're selling? Like what is it that you built?
So for me, I enjoyed training the muscle up and the handstand.
Yeah.
That was my 2 favorite things in the world. Like to even get myself to the gym and train, it was just, that's what I love to do. And then I focus my offer on that. So if you look at my bio, learn the muscle up and handstand. That's it,
what
right?
it literally says.
Yeah. So whereas for some of other people who's into, building muscle, teach something like that. That would be your offer. Yeah. What you're good at, what you really have a passion for, just go all in on that. So some people would have a different angle of weight loss, building muscle, building functional strength, powerlifting. So what do you enjoy the most out of your training?
Interesting.
And pick that.
Yeah.
Niche that down.
Fantastic. No, I absolutely agree. Do you think that people who haven't achieved the result that they sell should be selling that result? For example, people that maybe help the opposite gender, maybe they help women lose weight, but they're a man. Do you think that that's acceptable? Or do you think that you should really niche down to like your own journey and your own demographic in terms of who you are as a coach?
I believe so.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta walk the talk.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course.
You have to have the experience in that as well. So if you have no experience in what we've just discussed, then there's no point.
I agree.
Otherwise, perhaps the conviction's not going to be there, right? Because you're just winging it with the chats, with the discovery phase when you're on the sales call. So you got to know what you're doing. So that's why I say focus on what you're good at.
And also you're your own testimonial when you're starting out.
That's also big.
Which is huge. Well.
Yeah. So most of our online coaches do this, which is great. Like the first 3 pin posts, one could be about your personal journey. The other one could be about the client's testimonials, and another one could be something a little bit more personal about you or what you offer in a program.
100%.
Right? So that would give you an insight of what clients are looking into. So yeah, your own personal journey is definitely the one.
Fantastic.
That's how I got Steve as my first client. Just posting me doing my workouts.
Absolutely.
Learning the front lever, learning the handstand.
Yeah. Mate, your journey's been crazy though, because like the other opportunities that you got from just posting on social media and posting content, like, bro, tell me like the other things in your life, because I know that am I allowed to say that you're doing acting?
Yeah.
So obviously you're doing acting,
you've
done modeling. Tell me about the other things that you've done.
Yeah, so everything starts from yourself, right? Working on yourself, doing fitness, getting in a great shape, building confidence in yourself, backing yourself up, walking with your chest up high. That's opened pathways for me to do modeling in the UK. I traveled all over the world, working as a commercial model full time. I was earning around pretty decent money as well, 3 to 4K a month on top of coaching in the UK, bro.
Oh, that's fantastic.
3 to 4K pounds. And now with the opportunities with the modeling, I've got in contact with an agent over here, and she's got me to do an acting series for Netflix and Channel 3 in Thailand. So, you know, really depends on what you do, how you start, how you develop yourself is going to really take you to the next steps. And again, a lot of this is from sales, right? When I have sales call with clients, you learn to have that better communication.
Of course.
And then you're going to be able to speak to any other people.
Definitely.
Make this communication, getting better interaction, empathy, make new connections.
Isn't it crazy that you just started posting content
and
now,
it just leads
now
to this.
you're on Netflix? Like, that's insane.
Yeah. So I still remember like the first shoot that I did modeling in 2021, sorry. Was with North Face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
wild.
what?
Yeah.
My first client was North Face.
That is insane.
Second client, they flew me off to Morocco to shoot a phone commercial.
Sick.
Flights paid for 4 days. Nothing came out of my pocket.
Wow.
So by working on yourself, and it all just started with posting content. It gives you these opportunities, open different pathways for you.
Has anything fucked up happened though? Like as a model? Like has anything fucking weird happened?
Nah, for me, no.
Really?
No.
You just had a good experience.
I feel like with girls could be potentially different. You get a lot of the weirdo photographers out there, but for me, it's been a sweet ride.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to see.
But I'd say you
got no weird stories about being a model.
No.
Okay.
No. Lucky one of the lucky ones.
That's good, man. That's good. Okay, cool. So obviously you moved from the UK to Thailand. In terms of online coaching and in terms of your business, how did moving location actually affect your business?
Oh, massively. And the reason is the change in the environment, right? You are the product of the 5 people you hang around with the most. If you are at home, you're going to be limited to the thought frequency of your parents. How much are they earning? 3 to 4K. So you're just going to be limited to that. Whereas I'm over here with a bunch of ballers like yourself and the other boys, it really lifts you up.
It does. It really does.
It attunes you to a new thought frequency, a higher vibration, and you're able to operate with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been game changing. I'd really urge for anyone, if you have the opportunity, move the fuck.
Yeah.
Don't stay at home.
I agree, because honestly, for so long, I had the opinion that, okay, I don't need to do networking to grow my business. It's not that important. But networking's done a few things for me. Number one, I've got a lot of clients from networking. I don't know what it is, but when I network, I seem to be able to convert people really well, like in person, which I've been fortunate enough to do that quite a lot. And then the second thing, actually, there was an example of this in the gym the other day, but just being around people who are doing more than you, either making more money than you or working with more clients. They've got a bigger business. And I saw one of my friends, Max, in the gym the other day, and his business was around the same level as mine about 6 months ago. And we were talking about Facebook ads and running ads to get clients. And he was asking me, oh, how much are you spending on ads at the moment? And I was like, oh, I'm spending around, 50 to 100 pounds per day. And he's like, okay, no, but listen to this. And I was like, we can get clients whenever we want. I was like, so, things are going really well. And he goes, okay, yeah. And I went, how much are you spending? He goes, oh, we're spending £500 a day. And I was like, oh, fuck, okay. So obviously he's seeing return on investment from that. Basically, if you're spending more money on ads per day, that's kind of like the flex. It's like, okay, how much are you spending on ads per day? If you're spending more, that's the flex, because obviously it means you're making more. So I was like, shit, okay. But even just meeting him and seeing him in the gym, that gave me that little switch of, right, we need to spend more. So I went home and tripled my ad spend. This was literally last night. I went home and tripled my ad spend.
Yeah.
So that's been huge for me.
I remember just even an interaction with you, Tom, when we was just training together. I was going through like a little bit of a sales slump. And I was like, Tom, how do you get over this? And you were like, you read the book Reality Transurfing? And that chapter on the way for fortune, if you believe that it's there, like the fortune, the blessings always coming there. And then I just shifted my mindset from sales slump, oh, this guy's broke, he's not going to be able to pay, to, you know what, money comes easy. I'm a sales king. And then boom, close three calls on the dot, like
really
in the trot.
That's
so
crazy.
just leaving the comfortable environment at home, come to a new place, meet the other guys who are in a similar space as you and learn from them.
Definitely. Isn't it crazy though? Like when you tell yourself and when you're in that headspace of like, oh, everybody's broke, nobody's got money to pay me, my leads are really shit. Like that ends up being the reality. But as soon as you stop telling yourself that, like it actually changes. And I think it's not like an airy-fairy universe doing its thing. I don't think it's anything to do with that. I think it's the attitude and the way that you come across subconsciously to the people that you're communicating with. And I think that you'll kind of treat people how you assume them to be, in a sense. and that's important in sales.
Yeah, it all comes down to internal mastery as well. How you manage your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings.
What's been the most painful moment for you in business? Like, has there been like I'm fucked?
What for like online coaching as a general, or
maybe
anything?
just in general? Like, has there been like a moment where you're like, I am fucked?
Yeah,
Because it's been quite a lot for me.
Well, yeah. So you know when you're just first starting out, you're juggling to try and get as many clients as you can. I've been there, right? We've both been there, starting off, and then now it's like you've got loads of clients. I remember there was a time when I used to wish I could have 20 clients.
Yeah.
Now we're at 60 for fuck's sake.
I got too many clients.
And it's like, oh fuck. It's like, oh, what do I do? How do I manage all this? And this is when you have to start hiring more people. But I just cannot wait for everyone to get there, because it's a great feeling, right? Starting with zero, building your way up. So for me, it was handling the workload. How do I keep getting more clients while giving the same amount of quality of coaching to my existing clients? So it's just part of growth.
How did you do that though? Like, because that's actually a problem that we're facing at the moment in terms of our business, is like we can get a lot of clients in, but then we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
How did you manage like scaling that?
Systems, of course.
Yeah.
I just hired another coach. My best friend T.
Of course.
He's actually a partner. So yeah, he came on board and he enjoys creating the programs every week, watching the videos, giving them feedback,
That's
the
great.
stuff that I don't like to do.
Yes, the tedious things.
The tedious thing. So you're like, T, you go do that.
Amazing.
I'll pay you much amount of money.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we look after each other. We grow together.
And he's happy.
And he's happy as Larry, bro.
Yeah. Does he live here as well?
No. He's in the UK. But I'm going to try to get him over. He's
got
to come and ride the wave of fortune over here.
Absolutely,
in Bangkok,
yeah. Honestly, Bangkok's a really easy sell.
Yeah.
Like living in Thailand in general is an easy sell.
So another thing I'd like to add is, on top of the, feeling like your schedule is too full, sales mastery, sales slumps. Some weeks I'm like, when am I going to get these call booked? When am I going to close more sales? I feel like the more you focus on the negative energy side of that, it's makes everything worse.
Yeah, the more it grows.
Yeah,
it's so true. Okay, so not too many like big oh fuck moments for you then. Not too many like disaster moments. Like you've had such like a wholesome ride.
I feel like your heart has got to be in it, man.
Yeah,
you've got to have the love for it.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're in it for the money, it's not going to do you that well. You got to actually enjoy helping the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say for you, like in general, has been like the hardest period of your life? Is it to do with business? Is it to do with when you were younger, or is it, more recent?
Hardest period, moving from Thailand. I was born in Thailand.
Yeah.
Right, up until the age of 9. Moved to the UK. Family started a whole life again, saving up for the house. And we stayed with my grandparents on my dad's side for 2 years while my dad saved up to get a house. And we had to live frugal, bro. Every penny was counted. And I remember when it was like, comes the summer holidays, all the kids would go skiing in the south of France, going on these trips. And I was like, Mom, Dad, can I get a go? And they're like, oh, sorry, we can't. We don't have the money. And that really hit me, man. When everyone else gets to go skiing in the south of France or wherever it is, and then I'm just stuck in Essex.
Yeah,
life is great still. We weren't really struggling, but it just give me a perspective of like, cool, I'm not going to settle for this. I just want to be in a position where I look at anything I want, I just buy. So that was that was a big reflection for me, and that made me think, cool, you know what? I've got to work on myself. I'm not going to be broke. No, I'm going to be the man. I'm going to be that guy.
Absolutely.
So that was big turning point.
Yeah. Because isn't it weird? Like, there's so many. I'm always curious about people's backgrounds and like, their because you could argue that your reason for wanting to grow your business is because of that situation and the difficulties at that part of your life. But everybody has like different reasons that they want to do it.
What was your reason?
I was just terrible with money. Like, genuinely, you've seen the way I spend money. You've seen the way I treat money. Like, and I've always been that way. That's the thing. So, my parents, they're just normal. They're not really rich. They're not really poor. We could go on holiday once a year. Like, they're completely like in the middle. Like,
middle class family.
Like mediocre. Like nothing special, but not like terrible. Actually, we had a our house was actually in a council estate. So a lot of my friends were maybe their parents earned a little bit less money. They thought we were rich, but we absolutely definitely were not. And I think the thing that made me want to make more money was just because, I don't know, my parents were always just in that middle stage of like nothing special. I don't know, like they were just fine. They were just okay. They didn't want more. They just wanted a simple life. And that just enraged me. It just wasn't fulfilling or stimulating enough. So for me, I was like, okay, I need to be special. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to stand out. I wanted to be above average. Just wanted to be more than
living that best version of yourself, bro. I feel like you've give whatever it is, you've got this one shot at life. You've got to make the most out of it. What's the point of living below your means, not to your full potential?
Yeah.
So you've got to seek it.
Absolutely. And you know, my parents weren't necessarily in a position to like give me money to start a business or anything like that. So I was starting from zero, and you know, I would get paid, right? I used to be a lifeguard and a swimming coach. I would get paid quite good money actually, even when I was 16 years old, like £2,000 for working as a lifeguard. I would spend that £2,000 within about 4 days.
I wouldn't want to know what you spend that stuff on, bro.
I don't even know what I spent it on. I couldn't even tell you, honestly. Okay. But like, it would get to that point, and I'd even like, just my money management was just fucked. Like, I would even go to the point where I would take out credit cards and just go on. I'd take you know, my girlfriend at the time on holiday and buy like the 5-star hotel. She'd be like, how the fuck have you afforded all this? And I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it, you know. And I tried to be the man, but yeah, I think that. Just doing that, I was like, okay, I want unlimited money. Money shouldn't be a thing. Money shouldn't be real to me. I should just be able to do what I want. So that's why I work hard and got to where we are now. But yeah, what's your goals with like business though? Do you want to have? Because for me, I've got big goals. I want to make more and more money, obviously, to do more and more projects. But for you, is there like a big financial incentive to carry on growing?
Yeah, definitely a financial incentive. Yeah. For me is to get to 50K a month.
Yeah.
Okay. And be able to take myself away from the business where I just post the content, right? So just 3 reels a day, 2 YouTubes a week, and then I'll have my team, a setter in place, my coaches, my VAs doing the DMs. So everything's automatic to the point where I can make money in my sleep. I'll wake up, look at my phone, Stripe. Oh, John has closed this amount of prospects. Dave has closed this amount of prospects. So that's the goal. So 50K US per month, that's the next target. And I'm pretty sure we can get that within the next year.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 100%.
With the way that things are going.
Definitely. And are you doing that so that you can then like focus on other areas of your career? Obviously, you've got the acting side of things, you've got the modeling side of things. Is there other tangents in your life that you're going to go on, or are you just going to like stick to
this? I enjoy this the most. Yeah. To be quite honest with you, like modeling, I didn't really quite enjoy, to be fair. I felt quite boring. I'm just sitting there, take photos. They change the camera. It may look good for the ego, but I didn't really enjoy it that much. But yeah, just keep going with what I'm doing, and whatever else comes is a bonus for me. I think I'm quite content with what I have now. And that's another thing. You gotta learn to be grateful with what you have.
You have.
Because I've hit record month last month, and then I feel like, didn't feel much, and I think about it. And sometimes it's like you just want more. So sometimes you got to look back, look at your Stripe account when you were struggling to earn 1K a month.
Of course.
To now. So
it's so tough to do. But like genuinely, I know that every time I'm in like my way of getting out of a sales slump is I will accept and be grateful for the amount of money that I've made, because it all comes down to like your ego in a sense, because you're looking at your Stripe account or you're looking at your bank account of how much money you've made in that month. You're comparing it to last month, you're comparing it to other people, and the minute I can detach from that and just be like, right, okay, we've actually done well. Like, I'm actually grateful for what I've got here. This is enough. I can eat, I can afford my rent. I'm in Thailand, everything's fine. You know, my brother's living out here. I can see my friends. I can afford the things that I want, right? And the minute I accept that and start to feel genuine gratitude for what I've achieved, that's when things change. And that's been at every level. Even when I was making nothing, even before I got my first client, I was just like, okay, I'm grateful I can, because I started out similar to you doing handstands, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm grateful I can do a handstand. I was like, okay, if nothing else, I'm still the guy that can do a handstand. Most people in the world can't do that. And it looks awesome and it's cool and people like it. And I remember I just like, because I was grinding to try and make the business work for so long. And I remember one day I just sat back and I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm just going to accept that I can just do handstands. And then the very next week, so many opportunities opened up for me and, you know, got loads of clients and whatnot.
Interesting you said the word accept. I was reading the book by Naval Ravikant, the Almanac of Naval Ravikant.
Yeah.
And one of the phrases, I'm going to butcher this, but like the things that he says to himself the most, quotation mark, accept.
Really?
Accept. So like when things are not going well, accept. Or when you're feeling this type of way, accept.
Right.
Move on.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Why did you do handstands and calisthenics? Why not like bodybuilding? Why not CrossFit?
Oh, that's a great question. So yeah, I started training at the age of around 15. In the first year it was gym because my dad told me to go to the gym and that's what everyone else is doing. But then my good friend T, he just backstory, he saw one guy doing like the muscle up, the handstand in the park one day as he was walking by and he was like proper captivated by it. So then T had a training session with this guy called Reese who was doing all those cool skills. And then a week later I was like, Pat, come along, bro. And I saw what Reese is doing, like muscle ups, handstands back in 2016. Like, what the fuck? That's super alien move. So that's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I thought that looks cooler than just going to the gym, waiting 4 to 5 hours. I don't know, 4 to 5 hours. I'm exaggerating to go on the machine at 6 p.m.
That's drama.
So I think it's more fun this way.
Yeah,
more functional. And being able to do cool skills, people look at you, admire you.
Yeah.
It's also a nice boost to the ego.
Yeah.
In a good way.
It is in a good way. Do you find girls like it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the girls that follow me on Instagram, they'll always like, if we were to meet them, they'll talk about how do you get into calisthenics?
Yeah.
And I'd say, everything started with calisthenics. The confidence, the money, communication skills, everything started with that.
Yeah, because I remember you were saying that to me like not even long ago, that a big confidence boost or a big reason why you got into it was to actually build your confidence. Would you not describe yourself as a confident person before that?
Growing up, no. You know, moved from Thailand to the UK, I couldn't speak English, bro. Maybe
really?
Like, hello.
What age were you?
9.
Wow.
Yeah, I moved to Essex when I was 9. I remember just introducing to the class like, hello everyone, my name is Yo. Nice to meet you. My nickname was Yo in Thailand.
Okay.
Everyone was laughing at me, bro.
Oh, really?
I was like, yo, what's happening, yo?
Oh my God.
So that knocked my confidence.
Right.
My teacher had to give me a new name, Pat.
Wow.
And just not having that language barrier has really knocked down my confidence.
Wow.
To be able to express how I feel, what I want to say. So yeah, fitness has changed a lot.
Interesting. How would you say the culture between like, because like growing up in the UK, like UK school, I don't know, it's just, it's infamous. Just like the UK school culture growing up, like everybody in the UK references their time in school so much and it really shapes people. I guess it does everywhere in the world, but like I feel like in the UK, it does it in a very particular way. How would you say the culture in schools in Thailand differ to the culture when you move to the UK?
In Thailand, it's a bit more obedient. Teachers have absolute authority over everything. If you don't listen, they will throw a chalkboard rubber, wooden one, they'll throw it at your head, bro.
What?
Or they'll smack you. Whereas my first day of school in the UK, like a kid threw a chair at a teacher and I was like, what? Yeah, so it's obedient in Thailand and a bit more outrageous in the UK. And it builds your character. I feel like people are a bit more softer in Thailand.
Really?
Yeah, in school, between each other. Whereas, you know, in the UK, you get into fights just to stick up for yourself. You don't really have much of that in Thailand.
Wow.
So it really builds your character.
Yeah.
My dad knew that because I was small, Asian. He got me into boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, learning to protect myself.
Of course.
And that helped a lot, bro.
I bet it did. Yeah.
Being a small Asian kid, bigger kids would try to pick on me, bro. But little did they know that I knew how to fight.
You took the fuck out.
So I ended up beating them up.
Nice.
So
rightfully so. Yeah.
Yeah. But
fantastic.
I'm grateful that I'm able to grow up in the UK.
Yeah.
Mindset wise, people are more progressive.
Yes.
Not as laid back compared to Thailand.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So much better.
That's interesting, man. We'll have to talk more about that at some point because I'm always interested to know the difference between education systems and the culture in schools. I used to work in schools. That was one of my.
How do you find the
jobs.
cultural for you, bro, in your journey, educational system?
Honestly, good. Like my the school that I went to was a Catholic school originally. Well, actually, both my high school and my primary school was a Catholic school. Not that crazy. Again, this is what I mean. Like my life was so like just mediocre. It was just normal, and I just hated that. It just gave me anxiety. I remember I would be in assembly. You know, assembly, like everybody has to sit down on the floor. You have to listen to the head teacher speak about something.
Yeah.
And I remember that I would feel like, I didn't know it at the time, but I guess it was an emotion of anxiety. I would feel it so overwhelmingly that I would actually get up and like run out of assembly. And like,
What the fuck?
Genuinely, I would get up and just leave.
You're like, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah, it was like, just imagine just being sat in the Matrix. You just like sat there with everybody else. I just hated being there. I just felt out of place. I felt like I shouldn't be there. I don't know, maybe that's ego, maybe that's anxiety, but I would just get up, run out. The teachers have to like run after me, like, what are you doing? I'd be like, I can't sit in there.
And growing up, like obviously the normal job for people is like become like a, you know, electrician, a plumber, or like working in the office. Did that not stand out to you, bro?
No.
Was that?
No. Again, do you know what? I went into an office when I was 16 to do work experience. And I was in there for 2 weeks. Honestly, that 2 weeks, I feel like what I imagine a crackhead feels like on a day-to-day basis. That's what I feel like I was. I would go home every night from that work experience. I would just smoke weed like in ridiculous amounts. I'd spend all the money that I had, and I was just a mess. I wouldn't be sleeping. I was just a mess for 2 weeks. By the end of it, I couldn't even go into the office. It was just horrendous. Yeah.
Depressing, bro.
It was
working
depressing.
in the office. And like we live in a day and age where I feel like if you're not making money online, what the fuck are you doing with life, bro?
It's true.
What the fuck are you doing with this life? The higher being, whether it be God, whatever, has given you the power, the access to a mobile phone and a laptop and internet. Yeah. You've got to make the most out of this, man. There's probably more millionaires in the world compared to like
100%.
50 years ago, thanks to the fucking internet.
100%.
So if you're not capitalizing Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, building a personal brand, what the fuck are you doing with life?
Yeah. What would you say? Like, obviously that's a big motivation for somebody getting started, but a lot of people are apprehensive to put their first piece of content out there. They're scared to put themselves out there. Maybe you weren't scared to do that, but like,
I was, bro.
How did you get over it?
Reps. Reps. Think about the first time you got into the gym. Your form's going to be rubbish. You're probably going to get aches and pains. People are going to be probably judging you. You're probably going to be self-conscious. But you just post. How I think of it is, every time I post a reel, I don't look at it again. It's stardust, bro. It's stardust for me.
Wow. Okay.
Right? Yeah. Maybe 1 out of 10 would go viral, 10, 15K views. But I just post, I forget about it. Right. And again, when I say consistency, this is very important. I was posting for 2 years straight consistently, got myself up to 7K. And there's just one video.
7K followers.
7K followers for the first 2 years since in 2018 when I started this Instagram account. Posted consistently, built myself up to 7K, and it was just stuck. I just told myself, one day I'm going to have a breakthrough. I'm going to have like 100K followers. And all it took was just that one video. Gave me 40,000 followers that one video, bro.
That's insane.
Just one lucky video that gave me like, it's like 1.2 million views.
Right.
And then it just then compounds. Yeah. Lots of traction starts to come from this one video. And then you post more videos. People that are already onto the page would see, and then it'll boost up the algorithm.
So it just compounds. But why do you think that one popped off in comparison to like the previous, I don't know, I guess maybe like 500 videos that you posted before that?
Trying out different things.
Yeah.
And I try not to copy anyone else. I just try to be my authentic self. Speak how I would speak to you, how I would coach a client, and people will be able to rub off of that. Yeah. So practicality wise, think about what you want to teach. And I just went through that. Be yourself.
Definitely.
That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
Don't try to mimic someone else because you're not going to have that much conviction.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
When you have the conviction to be yourself, it's like people can feel that energy. And then when I jump on these sales calls, people will be like, oh, I love your videos.
Yeah. And also that you're the same person when you're actually on the call with them, right?
Yeah. And they're like, it seems like you're really genuine. Yeah, bro, because I was gonna say, yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, bro, because like I love what I do. I'm being myself. So yeah, consistency. You'll get that one lucky break. One lucky break can change your life. That's what I say to everyone.
Yeah. But how do you garner attention though? Like how do you actually, obviously consistency is like the overarching like thing that you need to do, because obviously with consistency you'll get better. It's reps. But like from those reps, like what skills do you develop? How do you actually get more attention and go viral? Because you've built a big following, man.
Yeah. So as cliche as this is, like the hook, right? The first 3 seconds of the videos. So as a fitness coach, I genuinely believe that you need to show off your body. So take your top off. If you're one jack dude wearing an oversized t-shirt, like what the fuck
if you
are you doing?
insist, okay.
Yeah. Take your top off. And then one for me, the one that blew up was, here's a calisthenics hack in 15 seconds. It was just that hook, and it was just me doing a muscle up. And then I jumped into the source that I was wanting to teach them on the muscle up technique. Here's a calisthenics hack in 15 seconds. You're doing a muscle up.
And that was the one that popped off.
That one was a popped off. And then whichever one popped off, I just try to replicate other content around the area. So the first hook, here's a calisthenics hack in 15 seconds. I just used that for the next 100 videos.
Really? So you just reused the same hook over and over and over? Oh
reused that. Yeah. And then I just changed the body. That's literally it. Because it works.
Of course.
So whatever's working, keep using it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Don't have to try to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. But did you spend a lot of time doing that though, in trying to go viral? Because I know that one strategy is to like go back, look at all your reels, see what's got the most views, replicate the hooks, replicate the visuals. Did you do a lot of that sort of research and ideation around your content before going viral?
I did, yeah.
You did?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Like obviously learning about the hooks, the body, like don't post more than...
But you weren't like autistically like analyzing
No.
Okay.
I was just very chilled. I just had the conviction that it's gonna make it one day. Just a matter of when. And then just keep posting, bro.
You just gotta be cool and keep going. That's literally it.
As long as you don't give up, your time will come. Yeah. If you truly deserve to be that best version of yourself, the universe will reward you with that.
Absolutely.
Just a matter of how long are you willing to wait?
It's true.
Are you gonna be a bitch and quit, or are you gonna keep going to get what you deserve?
Yeah. And that is literally the only thing that can make you fail is yourself. If you quit, that is, you don't actually. There's no failing in online coaching. It's not like an exam where there's a definitive outcome and an answer to your efforts. It's you'll get to a certain point, you'll decide that you can't do it anymore, and you'll quit. And that's what failing looks like. It's not actually, you won't fail,
Another personal strategy for me, bro, if you look at, everyone's got their own kind of style. I use a cover for all my videos to keep my page in like a consistent theme.
Yeah, you do. Your page is very neat, actually.
Yeah, it's like people like that consistency.
Yes.
So Ashton Hall, the guy who does the morning routine.
The morning routine with the ice, with his face in the ice.
And what I've realized is people expect that. That's why they watch it.
Yes.
So when people come to my page, they see the consistent theme, right? Of me doing a workout and in a text. If you go through my page, it's consistent. And people like that neatness.
It's huge.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't work for everyone, but this is what's worked for me. So I literally screenshot my clip that I recorded, upload it onto Canva, add some text, use that as the cover.
Fantastic. But I think fulfilling expectation is a big thing with content, and especially if you're trying to create something that's bingeable, like this podcast, for example. It's now going to be the same set. It's going to be the same kind of questions to each coach. It's going to be the exact same question at the beginning. And it's funny, I saw this is actually after I started the podcast and after I decided to add this level of congruency to my content. Do you know William Brown? Huge guy in the coaching space, sold his coaching business for like £16 million. He's, done absolutely fantastic. And now he kind of is one of the most goated like business mentors in coaching, I suppose. But one thing that he said was that if he was to start a podcast, he would have just a set of questions and he would just ask the same questions every single time so that people could binge it. And it's creating that like Netflix binge effect around your content, which I think is really, really important. I'm constantly doing it on this YouTube channel where I'm referring to one video in a certain video. So it's like a spider web of videos, and people just end up watching one, then another, then another, then another, and then just get bounced between different videos. There'll probably be a video tagged to this podcast. So I think building that is so important, because then people get to spend more time reviewing content, and the more time they spend with you, the more money they'll spend with you.
Yeah, so they appreciate the consistency. And I was reading this book the other day. They were telling me about like how what makes a song in a radio go viral. And they've done like a study where they try to keep the beats, the melody the same with other viral songs. So that's how it's popped off, because people kind of expect it, kind of feel like they've heard it somewhere, and that's how they're going to be able to keep listening to it. I'm butchering the lines here, but I was like, oh, I'm going to apply that in my business.
But it's true. Yeah. It's true. It's that congruency, and you've got to look at the market and see what's working well. And just, I know it sounds crazy, and like we said, don't copy people and be authentic, but you've got to replicate what works, and you've got to incorporate that into your own content. But for you, because I used to struggle, right, when I got on camera, and still to this day probably struggle with it. I don't feel like I can be myself sometimes. Like I'll pick up the camera. I did a daily vlog yesterday, and it actually went really well. And I was editing it this morning, and I was like,
that, bro.
Yeah, it was a good little vlog. I thought, okay, it's quite authentic, it's quite good. But I caught myself sometimes saying stuff that I'm like, I wouldn't fucking say that. I never talk that way. Why am I saying that to the camera? How can you be more authentic in your content?
Okay. So, you know when you watch a movie and the camera focuses on you, everything else is blurred. I visual myself being that person, right? Maybe like Johnny Depp or something. The scene focuses on you. Everything else is forgotten. It's just me. And that's what I think in my mind. Everything else is like, I don't feel anything else. Focus on me. In terms of practicality behind that, just speak from the heart. If it comes up from you, if you feel like this is kind of being yourself, just keep doing it. I'm kind of, it's a hard one.
It's tough, isn't it?
It is a tough one.
Have you learned anything from acting that you've implemented into content?
No, not really. Just, no. I got it, bro. To get better at the camera.
That was going to disappoint me then if I didn't learn anything.
No. To get better at the camera, okay, you just got to pretend that you're that guy.
Yeah?
Yeah. So, I don't know, if your idol is flipping Iman Garchi, Alex Hormozi,
okay,
borrow some traits from them.
Yeah.
All right? What would Iman do in this situation? What would Ashton Hall do? What would he feel? What would he think? Borrow his character. I think it was a book from Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, where before he goes to bed, he'd sit down with these kind of billionaires. He'll have conversations with them, and then he'll borrow their power.
Okay.
As crazy as that, what they think. How would he feel? Borrow that from that ideal character that you want to be.
Interesting.
Because you're never going to be perfect. That's the start. If you look back at my earlier YouTubes.
Yeah.
No,
I actually watched your first ever YouTube video today, which is like how to do calisthenics, I think it's called, something like that. It's quite a vague title. Yeah. But honestly, like, you were pretty good at speaking.
Oh, do you think?
4 years ago, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you'd come off pretty well, actually.
Okay.
Because, I did one with Sam a few weeks back. I don't know if you've seen that one, but I looked back at his first videos, and I looked back at my first videos, and they were just not that good. I was just waffling.
Oh, I did go see that.
Yeah, you should. You should.
What's your thought process behind being authentic, being yourself in front of the camera?
It's tough. I think that ultimately you have to be quite authentic within yourself anyway. You have to, the more you know yourself, then the more authentic you can just be in life in general. And I think if you can not change when the camera comes on, not change too much, then I think you'll come off pretty well. I think that it's detaching, isn't it? For me, again, it comes down to like not trying to be someone, not trying to put across a message which is incongruent with the way that I think. And also it's about being original, because a lot of people, and even clients that I work with to this day, they will implement things and say things in their content that they think they should say just because it's a part of their content, whereas they haven't actually sat down. Because one thing that you said earlier on, just in this conversation, you said about your 3 pillars, right? What were they again?
Intelligent training, smart nutrition, peak performance.
right? But you've got those three pillars that you've
pillars.
sat down and you thought about, and you thought, okay, this is a story that I need to tell and I need to give to my clients so that they can achieve the outcome that they've got. And most people, they don't think about that actual process. They don't actually think outside of themselves and how it's going to affect other people. So I think when you're making content, you've got to think, number one, okay, sure, how can I just stay myself and not change and know myself and know how I'm coming across? And number two, what can people who are watching this get out of this? What can they achieve from doing it and going outside yourself?
Another thing I'd like to add to that is whenever I jump on sales call, I get into a conversation of like, what made you want to jump on this call with me today? They always say, when I watch your videos, it's simply explained. I can take action on it straight away and I feel a difference, right? So that's me showing you how to do a push-up. Break it down in such simple format that someone, such as my little sister who's 14-year-old or my grandma who's 79, she can go and do it herself.
Oh my God, that's so
Make
important.
it so simple.
Yeah, that's so
Right?
important.
That's it. You don't have to overcomplicate with all these fancy terms. Just make it simple.
Yeah. Like a 5-year-old needs to be able to go onto your Instagram profile and know what the fuck you're talking about.
So, and give tips on where someone can take action on. Yeah. Right. I see a lot of different online coaches. Oh yeah. If you want to be improving your sleep, drink less sugar, or or like have less of this. Like show them a little bit more. Like how, and you don't have to focus on many different things in one go. I focus on one angle.
Okay.
So with a push up, there's different ways you can do it with correct form. I just focus on hand positioning for one video.
Yes.
And that's how I can build. So one video with a push up, I could talk about hand position, elbow position, my glutes, my core. And I can break this down into like 5 different clips.
Absolutely.
So you ain't got to cover everything. You just cover one thing.
Absolutely.
And then someone can take action.
Yes. There is an idea in copywriting, which essentially is the same as just creating content, which every piece of copy should have just one big idea and sticking to that. So that's a huge tip.
So if you guys are who's watching this, who are doing weightlifting, take example of bench press.
Yeah.
Right? You could have different grips. One video, you can just talk about the elbow.
Yeah.
Should you flare the elbows out? Should you keep it tucked in?
Literally.
And that's your one value.
Exactly.
So if you think about one exercise, there's like 10 different video combinations. You just show different, just tackle that, and then someone will be able to take action.
100%.
And then they'll earn your trust.
All right, man. We've got a few minutes left on here.
Fuck, that's gone quick.
That's gone really quick. I looked at the time halfway through and I was like, halfway
shit.
through, nice. But there is one question I'd like to ask you,
Go on, Tom.
which is, what is the best piece of advice you've received in online coaching to build your business?
Be good at sales.
Seriously.
Yeah, everything in life is sales.
Okay.
Right? When you understand how to listen, how to communicate, how to emphasize with people, that's going to make a massive difference, because you can apply the skills with your team.
Yeah.
You can give them conviction in that with your clients, with your prospects, with those that are around you. Sales. Master communication, bro.
Yeah. And within that then, so like, what's the best piece of advice you've received on sales in particular? If you had to give one sales hack to leave people on so that they can go into their next call or their next communication with a client, whether it's in the DMs, what would you say?
Empathy. And like, so Tom, you've mentioned to me that you're feeling XYZ, you're not making any progress. Is that accurate? Empathy, replaying it back to them what they say, to make sure that you understand them, right? To make sure that you acknowledge their pain and asking them, is that accurate? So just empathy.
Fantastic.
Be in their shoes, bro.
Fantastic.
How would you feel if you were in their shoes?
Yeah. Man, you've dropped some sauce on this. Where can people find you?
You've got Instagram. We've got at Pat Chads, PATCHADS. My online coaching business is, Major Calisthenics. You can find it on Instagram. I'm on all platforms: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Major Calisthenics or Pat Chats.
Beautiful. Thank you for coming on, man.
Pleasure, brother Tom.